when you told me just now that you were going to grab your other laptop, I went and grabbed this because I started playing some more Mario Wonder recently. I'm like, you know what? I beat the campaign in this game, and I know you haven't gotten
Yeah,
it
yeah,
yet.
I'll get it.
Eventually, right? For sure. And I'm like, yeah, let me go through like the collectibles and let me get some more things from here and everything. It's a fun game, man, for
Well,
sure.
let me ask you this, because there's the part of these games now I like is like the base game is pretty easy. It'll have one or two, but then if you want, it has like those extra worlds that are just like. Does that game have those, or have you come across those yet?
So yes. I agree. Like the base game for the most part was pretty not that difficult. And there is at least one super secret world that you're describing that I unlocked already, but there's a lot more that I need to do in the regular game to unlock the levels within the secret world. That's what I'm understanding. I've only unlocked like one of the
Yeah.
actual levels there, and that one level was like insane. I was like, okay, this is what we're talking about. It was a
Those are
lot of
always
fun
my
though.
yeah. That's what I like now. It's kind of fun. Like I like to kind of just play it, get through it, but then I like to get to those insanely hard stages because then I get
Yes.
frustrated. I'm like, all right, now I feel it almost
Yeah.
feels like it's worth the it's worth it. Like once I pay $74
Yeah.
or
Oh, you did
$64, the
you
tax.
did the tax,
I always
man.
got
That's it, bro.
Actually, fun fact: I'm gonna give everyone some free game.
Yeah, let's go.
Since 2009, I've never paid tax on a Nintendo game or thing from the store. The reason is,
Okay.
if you can manually enter your area code, and if you put area codes from Oregon, and there's a site that'll tell you exactly the ones to use. There's
Yeah.
specific states that don't have the tax, and they don't verify it. So I've been actually, when I buy that game, it'll be without tax. So everyone, if you don't want
Oh
to pay tax
shoot.
on your Nintendo Switch, just go online and I think it's Oregon, and there's one other place you could like find a code, and you won't ever pay tax again.
That's mad smart. And as I'm sitting here laughing, I'm like, okay, to the average person, that's like saving a few bucks. To the avid
Oh,
Nintendo fan
that's
like
hundreds. Do you know how much money I've spent over
Yeah.
10 years? I've saved probably
Yeah.
$1,000 on just taxes
yeah,
alone.
real talk, bro. All right, that's actually super interesting, and I was not aware of that. And when you're talking about super secret worlds, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, let's see, 3D World, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one with Rosalina, right? The
Yes.
unlockable character. Is she in there? 3D World,
Yes.
unlockable
Yes.
character with the cat suits and all that.
Yeah, yep.
So that game, if I remember correctly, had at least 2 to 3 super secret worlds. Like you unlock one, you do all these levels, and then there's like another one, and then maybe there's another one, something
Yeah.
along those lines. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was like, okay, this is.
Yeah.
I was like smiling, playing. I was like, all right, this is what gaming should be about, you know?
It's smart too, because if you're a parent buying it for your kids, the kids can play the game and have a lot of fun. And as an adult, even though it's not hard, it's still fun.
Still
Then,
fun.
If you want to if you want the kids are going to sleep and you want to
Yeah, they go.
scream and get so angry, they add that in, which I always. But it's kind of like you said, you have to earn it. You have to find them. You have
Yeah.
to keep unlocking them. It's not just there. I think a lot of people probably don't even know how hard these games can get if you just stick with it.
That's right. That's right, man. And dude, like I told you, I know I've been texting you like a lot kind of recently, which I always thoroughly enjoy. Like one night it was like 11:30 at night. I'm like,
I'm
we'll
always
just
up.
have it just yeah, nice. I mean, me that was rare for me to be up at that hour. To be honest, I'm usually like 10 o'clock ish. I'm like down. Kayla's up at like 6 a.m.
I was assuming the baby was up, so you were just up. Like, hey, what's up, man?
That's gonna be me in a couple of weeks for sure. But yeah, no, I would always enjoy our conversations. So you mentioned it was cutting out a little bit. So you said you recently watched our old interview.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. And I'm not embarrassed to say this. I touched my face way too much in our first one because I've never watched myself, so I didn't know that I did that. So
Okay.
I watched it this morning to kind of see what I did wrong and what things I did well and like how I could be a better guest.
Ooh,
So
love that, man.
So my goal for today is to just not touch my face a lot, which I
Okay. What's the over under? Because I don't think you have yet. So that's pretty good.
I want to touch it so bad. I'm gonna say over under 6. I'm gonna try to stay under, but I'm probably gonna go way over.
Gotcha. So 6. That must mean that on the original one you were like, what was it, like 20, 30, 100?
It was
Oh,
100
gotcha.
every 5 minutes. I felt like
It is. I mean, as is the case, I'm sure. I mean, I typically don't go back and watch episodes again. I mean, I watch them while editing them, of course, right? And sometimes editing is like watching the whole thing. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, the conversation was dope. There's nothing that I think needs to happen. I just kind of let it go out as is. And so, I mean, granted, that was like years ago, of course, but I have no recollection of it. So this excessive face touching, like it didn't even dawn on me while I was
that's why
editing.
I brought up. I want to ask: is there anything, especially probably because now, I mean, you got a professional.
This is pretty
This is
professional,
looking
right?
nice
This
now.
is pretty good.
What were
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of your like when you're there? Because I know we had talked about on the first pod about just how hard it is to put your to do this every day to record yourself.
Yeah,
You don't know if anyone
sure.
is going to watch or care, but that's not the point. You know, what were some things when you first started to film yourself that you were like, I don't like that, or I wish I did that. You know, I wish I could
Yeah.
fix that.
Yeah, 1000%. One thing comes to mind specifically when I was doing these interviews, which I think is like two different types of content, right? Like when I first started making videos and stuff, it's just me. So there were just all the normal growing pains of like, you know, trying to figure out a way to look at a camera and treat the camera as a person, right? Or as many people kind of thing to kind of like give that authentic feel. So that's one thing. But one episode of Khordmaster Keys back then, I don't even think it was called that. It was called KL Experience back then.
KL
I
Experience,
literally, dude, I actually have it. And I usually don't have this in here, but right now I'm actually using it like sit comfortably, you know, one of the yoga balls, right? And so sometimes it's more comfortable if I'm doing work on this desk, like this chair I'm in, it's kind of like slouching. It's a super expensive, nice Herman Miller chair, of course, but this ball is more ergonomic for me when I'm leaning forward doing stuff, right? So I brought this back in here. So one episode, I believe it was only one. I actually sat on that ball, and it was with someone named Mike Mason, who I used to work with at Verizon, who was
What
a
was
mentor.
that, like a bouncing? Was it a bouncing
Yes.
ball?
My mom texted me afterward. Did I talk to you about this, or you
Please,
just kind
I
of?
love your mom being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yo, she said the interview was so good, but it was very distracting because you were just bouncing on the ball the whole time. And I didn't know I was doing that, of course, but I was anxious and nervous, and this is like a super professional kind of guy, and I was like, and I guess I was just bouncing away, and then as I watched
I
it
totally
afterwards,
understand because I don't know if you noticed, I just touched my face, and then
I did not.
I noticed it right. I was like, "Damn it!" So
Okay.
so that's one,
That's one. We got five. You have five more to go, man.
man.
Dude, Alaska. I texted you
Oh,
in the
snap.
text a
Yeah,
while
that's
ago,
good. Yeah.
and you were laughing because I mean, you had me laughing because you were like, yo, like I went there like months ago, like you're asking about it now. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm actually curious right now. I wasn't thinking about it before, but how was it? And like, specifically this question, in addition, after you talk about it and stuff, like, what is a thing about that trip that like years from now, you're going to, remember and like reminisce about being in Alaska?
I guess it's the obvious answer, but it's why we're there. It's the Aurora Borealis. We went there
Yeah.
to see the lights. It's not a guarantee you'll see them. We saw them 2 out of the 3 nights we went to like the place to go see them.
Sweet.
It's hard to it sounds. I'm gonna sound like I work for like big Northern Lights. It's hard to put into words to explain what it is or like what it feel like. You like. So here you go. Some fun facts. Some little. The best way to see the lights is actually through a camera. So our eyes don't. There's different levels to it. So like some nights it's like a 1, which means you're not going to see it. If it's like a 4, it means it's as bright as can be.
Wow. Okay.
So when it's around a 1 or a 2, you'll see faint green, but when you go through your phone, it's like it's like a mirror. All of a sudden, it's crystal clear. It's bright. It's
Crazy.
Thankfully,
Okay.
the first night we saw it, it was like a 3.5. We
Wow,
didn't need
close
like
to the top.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
really bright. And
Wow.
what's really weird is the northern lights will start to move, but your eyes can't register it. So you'll see like the faint will be like this, and then you're looking right at it, and it won't move, and then all of a sudden it looks like this.
Oh wow.
And it's hard to explain. It's like you see it move, but it doesn't move.
Yeah.
And we learned all of, but like, it's what's really cool about that place is they call everyone else the lower 48. They are really cut off from the rest of the United States, but like that's the way it's meant. That's what they want, and that like they're it's very untouched land by human beings. And I think we've lost that because we grew up in this area where it's just like, you know, townships and we have like hills and stuff, but there is something absolutely beautiful and frustrating that human beings just mess everything up. Because when you just leave everything all alone, the mountains and the snow and the wildlife, the earth is like, just like the earth is probably way, like we shouldn't be here. It's kind of how it felt. I felt almost a weird sense of guilt, and like they all really care about their land. There's a lot of, even to this day, as recently as like the 60s, the Native Americans were being, you know, families being killed, and they whitewash them. They force them to go to white schools and to learn our things. But those natives, man, their culture permeates everything there. All the white folk, they even have like a reverence. And there's a lot of like, we leave them alone now. But like, imagine how amazing they had to be to exist there. Dude, when I say I like cold, right? I'm a big guy. You ain't never felt minus 28 with wind chill cold. But these guys, before like hundreds of years, are just like, they live off this land. And it is a brutal land. You could die out there, even with things and help. You could die out there really fast. And one of the things that you learn is everyone who's there, who's not born there, everyone has a same kind of thing. I backpack through the mountains in the summers. I grew up in a Midwestern town. I just wanted to, you have to have like almost like a risk-taking, like the way you love to make beats and do this, these people just love to like be outside and to almost get killed and to learn. And there's something very noble. I like, there's something very like, wow, like I love being outside and I love cold, but these, like, it's so cool to see like this whole group of like-minded, white, black, old, young, from everywhere, who just like, I just I wanted this sense of like adventure. And it's a brutal, we went during the dead of cold. Now I've heard in the 2 months where it's warm, it's also nice, but I would love, everyone should go there once during the winter while you're still younger and can like kind of take it, because it's a very beautiful place, dangerous place. It's just like it almost it's just very cut off, and there's something for I know, like we, like if you and your whole family were there, I bet you would leave and feel the same sense of all the stuff I'm saying. There's like, wow, imagine this world where like your paycheck is not what's most important, or like they don't care about what, like it's just about how do we live? How do we find a way to help each other and live in this brutal place? And there's something pretty cool, you know? I'm glad I got to go. It was cold though, man. I'm not gonna front. And now to the other side.
Minus 20?
Bro, that's on a good, dude. It is cold.
I can't even fathom. Sheesh.
And I learned a whole lot of stuff too. It's like you don't want to put too much on, because if you put too many layers, you kind of your flow of blood stops. You don't want to tie things too tight for like the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like real, like it got real. Like they for a year straight we prepped, because they're like, hey, we're here to have fun, but like you will die. Like this is not a joke. You have to buy. They tell you like exactly like this, like the pants to buy. Things. Wow. You have to like really prep. It's real, but it sounds all scary. And then when you're there, you're like, oh wow, this is
beautiful, unlike anything
really nice.
that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what was really cool too was like, this is at the end of the football year, so the Birds were still doing good before they just fell off a cliff.
Collapse.
But I'm rocking my Birds gear, my Philly gear. They get a lot of people from the West Coast. Apparently, they do not get people from the East, because people just came up to us all the time. We're like, "Are you guys from Philly?" Oh my God! Some people were like, "Oh, we hate." They're like, there's many guys who were like, "You're from Philly. Donald Trump's gonna win and fuck Joe Biden," and we were like, "Whoa!" Like they just assume if you're from a left-leaning, they want. There's a lot of that, but there's a lot of like, they're just fascinated. And it was so much so, the place where we stayed, the first night we were like the last ones there. to eat, and the chef, the food, by the way, was really good, and the chef came out. He said hello. We talked to him. The minute he left, I turned to me and Morgan were like, he's from the East. He's either from New York, Maryland.
Wow. Yeah.
And so then the very next day when we saw him, before we could ask him, he came up to us and was like, "Where are you guys from?" Because he knew it too, and we were right. He was from Maryland, and he knew that we were from Philly. And it was just like this weird, like, yeah, oh my God, it's so nice to finally, because apparently people from the East, like, why would you go there in the dead of winter? Well, most people from the East, they hate the winter because they have it here.
Yeah, right.
So that was weird too, just like to be out of place and people like, whoa, this guy's from the big city. I don't know. I guess cool. Like, I don't know.
I guess technically, yeah. I mean, I don't. Right. Dang.
So yeah, it was really cool.
Cuisine you said was great. What kind of, like, what was the vibe like just in general for food?
So the place where we went to see the lights. So we went to two different places. The place where we saw. So we stayed at like a dome that has like a fake, like a roof that you could. So when you're asleep, you could see right out.
Right.
So everything is there. Like the place, there's only one place to eat. You do all your stuff during the day there. So you basically just keep going to this big like yurt. A yurt is basically like a tent, but like a giant round tent.
Okay.
And it's just, honestly, dude, it was like I don't know what like a 5-star or a 1-star place would be. I would have to imagine this was probably as close to like a 1-star or 2-star. It was really good.
Wow.
Food was just like really not like high end, but pretty high. I mean, for us, it was high. That is, so this place that we went, I'm not going to say we couldn't afford it, but like we couldn't probably afford it, but we were like,
let's go.
We're young.
We're here. Yeah.
The people who were there, clearly they live a life that we don't live because they were used to like so this is like just to kind of put into, so there's like 8 feet of snow everywhere that you go, right? So when you pull up to the place, they have the guys bring your stuff to your room and they do everything. They don't want anyone to have to like, bring any bags or like, so on the last day, we are going to leave. We pack our giant bags for like a week's worth of stay, and we carry them from our place all the way back down to the car, in the snow, because we're
snow.
Why would we assume someone? So we go to the front desk, and the girl's like, "Oh, are you guys leaving?" Like, yeah, we're leaving. And she's like, "Oh, I'll send the guys to go get the bags."
Right.
And we laughed like, "No, the bags are here." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, we carried our bags." And she like didn't understand. I was like, wait, your bags are not in the room? Apparently, rich folk just know that these guys will come. I don't assume this shit, so we just do.
Yeah.
So she kind of laughed at us like, "You guys don't. This isn't your." I was like, I'm not rich. I don't expect anyone to wait on me. So it was that. It was almost weird to like let my guard down and be like, oh, like we are paying tens of thousands of dollars for them to serve us, but that's not who we are.
Right.
I don't watch.
Right.
I don't know. So that was weird too. There was like a lot of rich folk there who were like, "I want this and I demand this," and we were like, "Oh my god, we're so sorry." Like, so that was kind of funny to be like and I think it helped. I bet you that everyone there probably thought we were the best, because I'm sure they deal with like rich folk who want, like we were the ones thanking them and like trying to help them because that's just the way we are.
That was like refreshing for them.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, it's like younger. We were the youngest pair there. It's all like parents and with like kids or like people in their mid, like people probably have who this is like their daily trip and they just have this for fun.
Yeah.
This was like, we're doing this once, so we cannot afford this. So
right. One time, well, a few things. Man, first of all, kudos on setting a trip like that up. I think that like I don't know.
She isn't gonna see this. I did not set up my wife spent 15 months doing everything.
Wow.
So I don't. She won't. I'm sure she will not care about this because she's not going to see it. But just in case she hears it, I did not do. Wait, anything.
I'm hurt, man. So Morgan is not going to watch this. This is
the
big
same
episode.
joke. I'm bringing the joke back from our very first episode. Our wives hear this stuff every day. They're sick of it. They're sick of it. She knows everything that I'm going to say. I've said it to her 1,000 times.
Yeah, she doesn't need to see more of you. That's the last thing she needs to see.
My God, yeah. I told her I was doing this. She was like, "Fucking go, please."
Yeah, just whatever. Like, have fun, I guess, or I don't really care.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
I'm gonna be
care.
watching
I
Abbott
don't care.
Elementary. All right,
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so that's cool. I'm well, I was gonna say I miss that. I miss traveling. Although it's not like I mean, obviously starting a family changes things, but we've had a chance to do two trips since Kayla was here. We went to Jamaica and we went to Aruba, and brought her on both trips. But I've been talking to Jess, and I'll drop it now. Like you guys can be on the lookout for this. Like me as a content creator influencer. Yuck, no one likes
Oh
that word.
no.
But a person who like does this, right, for 4 years and understands a lot about this whole dynamic and the way of life and how to do things and stuff, right? And also knowing that people clamor over content that I put out where Jess is in it or featured in it. People love that so
Yeah,
much.
I was just gonna say she is. Yeah, you need to start getting.
She's
I know, and it's that she doesn't really care or want to be involved. That's what makes it so great.
exactly. It's exactly. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like oh, camera, but she has those remarks
Doesn't
where
care.
it's just
Yeah.
people love that, and so I've been working on her for a while because we love traveling. I know that people. I know how people respond to that type of comment because I put it out and I read stuff. She's starting to understand that and appreciate it, and so we're gonna be doing something that's revolving around giving people more of a glimpse into our lives as it pertains to travel, as it pertains to traveling with kids, as it pertains to everyday life, et cetera, et cetera. But just making like high quality, entertaining, organic, just real content that both of us are in. And I think like travel is going to be like the main thing that it's centered around. I see for us, and I spoke to Jess about it, this opportunity to really be able to travel a lot more with our family, make content whilst traveling, and entertain people, to inform people about where we're going, et cetera, and get us to a point where we can get paid, right, to be able to go to places.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, and this is like, and then we'll get to God of War and stuff, right? This is the main thing that I learned, where it's like, as a person starting out may not know this, but I learned it over the years. It's like, if you are making content and you are receiving things from a company, like I received this keyboard, I received that, I received this, the way that you talk about it is going to be different than if you bought it and there's no strings attached, right? Of course, we know that, right?
Is that why you dropped the brand of the that chair before? You're like, oh, it's Henry Miller, of course, and I was like, I don't know what the hell that is.
Oh, Herman Miller.
Yeah, you're like, it's a Herman
Gotcha.
Miller, and I was like, I don't. And I was like, oh, is that product placement? Like, nice.
Oh, gotcha. It is. I mean, it's actually not. Although I did do it. I actually bought this chair for like $1,500 when I was more rich than I am right now. Yes, it's like the Rolls.
Bro. All chairs
It's like
do the same thing.
I know, I know. It's the Rolls Royce of chairs, right? Apparently, and I fell into the trap a little bit. I mean, in hindsight, right now, I'm like, I mean, if it was exactly what I needed, like at the time, I was like, I need something that's extremely comfortable because I had back problems like years ago and stuff, right? So I need something that's giving me support, something that I can invest in, that's going to last that long, et cetera, et cetera. It turns out that this chair is super comfortable. Indeed it is, but I'd rather sometimes sit in this goddamn ball that's like $20, right? And the reason for that is because, like, when I'm doing, like I was saying earlier, if I'm doing work like leaning forward, this chair doesn't go forward with me, right? I'm like leaning forward, there's no support, and I'm like doing stuff like this. And so for me,
Yeah, you gotta buy one of these back things. We have one of these. You like put it in the back of your chair, so when you lean forward for work, it like kind of
you give you extra
like
support
the thing you need.
there.
I'm sure you can buy one better than that, but
For sure, and that's a great point, right? The idea there is like, yo, I dropped 1,500 for this, not bragging. I mean, I'm like, why the fuck did I pay that much for it? But I bought it. I'm bragging a little bit. I mean, 1,500 for a chair, that's impressive stuff. Everyone can't do that. Also, 10,000 or tens of thousands of dollars for Alaska is also pretty impressive, if I may say so. I haven't dropped anywhere close to that on a vacation.
I don't even know.
Yes.
See, and what's crazy, I don't even know if it was that much because she did it all. I can assure you, though, it was more than we could afford. So I'm gonna guess it
Yeah.
was,
You guys are having like tuna fish for like 8 weeks straight when you got back from there. Like tuna
Well,
fish, or
I
maybe
mean, I
maybe
don't-
not even.
I mean,
Like,
I don't want to be a jerk, but like we don't have babies, so like
That's true. That's
like
true.
we
You could-
we're broke for like a month or two, and then we have jobs and we make pretty good money, and then we get it all
Yeah,
back.
and
We
you're
don't
good.
have to worry
Exactly.
about like a kid, but so that's kind of why it's like, well, we might as well.
We could. Yeah. It's not gonna affect us that much in the long run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, babies are expensive, and it's like the first time in my life where like having to budget and sit down and like do things financially that make sense. I've never had to do that before. Like when I was working at Verizon and didn't have like that type of responsibility. But it's good though. I'm like learning, and obviously, I mean, it's like it's just
This
mind
is
blowing. I'm about to
this
bring
is so.
a
This is probably a thing that like no one wants to say, but this is
Mhm,
one of my main reasons for having a kid, and I don't want this to sound. It's going to sound a certain way, but I kind of want to explain.
mhm,
How hard is it not? Because you said you have to like you guys have to like sit down and think about what
mhm,
you're going to spend on what. And I don't want this to come off wrong, but I probably will. It's like how
mhm.
hard is it to have to like you work all the time and you make all this money, and then it's like I can't spend it on me. I'm like I know it's for a good cause because you love your kid, but like I know I always want to ask parents like the real truth. Is like I like one of my reasons for not having a kid is I love my wife and I love to be 100% like to do things for her, and I also like my time. And I
Right,
don't care if
right.
people go, well, you should. I don't like. I know I could be a great dad and kids are great. I get all that. I don't
Mm,
want to sacrifice. When a kid is born, my love has to be split now to some in some way between the kid
yeah.
and the wife, and that's fair. I
Yep.
don't want that. I want to give my wife 110, and I also want to give me as much self care. And
Mhm,
I'm starting
mhm.
to grow it. I'm for the very first time in my life, I'm starting to like take care of me. And I
Mm,
know that sounds really so like how hard is it at times? I know you like it's not a big deal because you care about
mhm,
your kid. And
mhm, mhm,
I'm not a parent, so I don't like I've always heard the minute you have that kid, your whole life,
mhm.
your views change. But it's like I personally don't want to have to work hard and not spend my hard earned money on my wife or me.
Yeah.
But I get like the joy of a kid. So like how be honest, how hard is that? I'm sure at first too. It's like you want to buy this dope chair. Maybe you could have bought a $3,000 chair.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So like I know now you're probably into your dadhood enough to not think that way. But at first,
Yeah.
was that hard to be like, oh my god, I can't just like buy the things that I want or like do what I want?
Yeah, I mean, a major adjustment for sure. And I think it's important to have real dialogues like this, right? Real talk. Like, I think when people have said the sentiment that you just mentioned about like things change, like everything changes, when you have a kid, like
Mm-hmm.
people have said to me, like the moment you have a kid, like as soon as the kid is born, in that moment, like many people have said, like everything changes in that moment. That wasn't the case at all for me, right? Kayla was born, everything didn't change in that moment. I
And
mean, I
honestly,
was,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm really glad
uh-huh.
that you're saying that because I hear more and more fathers, moms say, "I thought something was wrong because when this kid was born, I didn't feel this thing that
Ah,
everyone says, and that's not fair to put that on."
yeah,
We all
yeah.
have our own ways to deal. So like,
To
I just a
process it.
shout out just to be like, I didn't feel like things changed. I feel like a lot of parents would be afraid to because there's this weird thing with parents. You have to be like, I love it and everything's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I think you're allowed to say like this is hard and like so like
Yeah,
just a shout out to be like, hey, I didn't feel at first. I'm sure it did
yeah.
change, but
It absolutely did change, and I appreciate that sentiment too. I think there's a lot of factors for that. I would say we actually just had our doula. Are you familiar with that term? If I say
oh yeah,
doula, you know what that is? Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, so we had our doula. I mean, previous generations, it's like a thing that we have to kind of Jess has to explain and stuff sometimes, like our parents and everything. But we had her here for the second time. We had her with Caleb. We're having her with our son, who's going to be named Beep. We'll like fill that in with something once you guys, once he's born in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I was just saying how goddamn tired I was. I was the most tired physically and mentally that I've ever been in my entire life the moment that Kayla was born. I believe that to be the truth. I was like, I was done. And as tired as I was, I'm sure Jess was even more, obviously physically and probably more mentally across the board. Of course, she's the one actually giving birth. So I didn't have time to like, to think about, I was happy, I was thrilled, but I was also like, I have nothing right now. I have no anything. I just want to make sure Jess is good because she had, some things going on that she needs to get taken care of. Make sure my daughter's good to the best of my ability. I don't have time to like process and do all the things. The days and weeks, obviously, after that, that's when things start clicking and everything like that. But I mean, yeah, man, like it is a dude. I mean, you know my brother. Not to put him
Of
on
course,
Front
yeah.
Street, but he and I talk all the time, right? About like he's he doesn't see kids for himself in this phase of his life right now. Maybe down the road or something. And the fact of the matter is that in my opinion, in order to be a good parent, you need to have some level of willingness to be able to like let a certain percentage of your time and money, right? Time and money, like be given to someone else. Like that's the name of the game. You can't be like a selfish
And
kind of person who's
yep. And I feel
yeah.
like the generations prior to us, like our parents and their parents, I know for a fact a lot. I can shout out my own dad. He didn't have kids
Yeah.
because he liked kids or he treated us like shit. He still does. He just grew up in a world where you get married and you have kids. And like I'm glad I was born, but like he shouldn't have had kids. He's a terrible. And like I think it's okay for I think Dwayne and like and me, we are this brand new generation going, hey, not
Push back a
against
little
it, but
bit. Yeah.
I'm not just gonna jump into it because that's what everyone says. And I think that's as valuable as a parent who wants to be a parent. Is you also
100%,
have to be
man.
real about yourself about like, hey, this might not be now a thing that I want. And I feel like the past generations that was like you had to have kids, and there's a lot. Remember back in the day, they had like the latchkey kids. That all started because parents were getting split up in the 70s. There was like the biggest boom of like all those these people were married who split, and their
Okay.
kids were just kind of home because the parent was at work and the other parent. That was a whole because that generation before just got married to people they didn't really want to get married to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
I didn't even, I guess,
Yeah.
even realize that at all. And that's
I think it
super
was like they say
interesting.
like the 70s, like the
Okay.
highest rate of like parents being split because it was
Wow.
like the first time it was socially cool to be like especially for a woman to say I'm not happy, I'm gonna leave even if I had kids. Imagine like
Okay.
your grandparents, if they had kids, they would never get divorced because the church and the whole township would like. So and now it's like formed to now it's us, and we're like, I want a dog.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Right. And owning that, and being
Yeah.
aware and comfortable, et cetera, enough with yourself. And I think that's, you said it perfectly, right? The person like myself who me and Jess, we were ready. We felt we were ready. I mean, were we ready? Probably in hindsight, I would say, but we felt like we were ready at the time. We felt like we've had ample experiences between the two of us. Like, I don't know how many years we were together, maybe 8 to 10 years or something before bringing Kayla into this world. And so we're excited, ecstatic about this scenario that we're in right now. I'm saying it. I don't sound ecstatic, but I mean we're
No,
like
yeah.
drained, mentally, physically
Sure.
drained. Preparing for our son and stuff. But we're really like excited. Like it's you can't put it into words, right? But like you just said, just as equally important is like people owning. And I guess it's like you're in a relationship where I would imagine. I mean you're saying. I don't know if you say you never or don't right now, but like being in a relationship with someone, being married to someone who has a similar sentiment. The moment
Yeah.
where one person does, one person doesn't, that's super difficult. I can only imagine, right?
Well, the thing is too, and like I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've always wanted kids. I'll bring it back to just what I said earlier. I grew up with a dad who didn't care, and there's a lot. I mean, Kevin, think about me back in the day. There was a lot of anger that I didn't even know about. I was loud and brash and just like kind of a dick. And now as I grow, I learn a lot of that was like just feeling very not heard and not seen. And like I wish so much that like my dad would care. And then when you're a boy, that stuff kind of you say
Yeah.
it doesn't. You say you don't care, but it does. But then you get
Yeah.
my wife, her life is kids. She spends
Yeah.
every day trying to help kids. But then
Yeah.
when we moved here, I'm sure you know this, and everyone is aware of this. We don't like her family is in Dallas. My family's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and we're not that close. We're all alone. Imagine how hard it'd be to raise your kids if your parents weren't around, if her parents weren't around, if like Ken, like if you like imagine your whole social, like your whole net is just not around. It
Yeah.
would just be me and her
Yep.
alone. And like then the thought became, oh my God, this isn't even fair. Like
Yeah.
how could we can't like how could we bring a kid into this world? We don't have any help. And then once we accepted that, and we saw our friends having kids, and although it's great, now I love the role of like all my friends are having kids, and guess what? I get to show up and be crazy Uncle B. I get, I love it. I get to hang out with, skate out. Oh, hey, what's up? And I get to get my kid Phil there, and then I go home and play PS5 until 4 a.m. So like I don't, so we aren't against kids. To be honest, we probably both deep down would want kids. It's just we don't have the. We don't have this. What's the old saying? It takes a village.
It takes a village. We don't have it. For sure.
We don't have a village. For sure. So it kind of. I mean, real, I don't want to say it sucks, but that's just like the reality of it.
That's the reality of the situation right now. Wow, yeah, it's very interesting, and we hadn't even really spoke about that type of stuff. I don't think
it's crazy. We've never talked about this in our entire lives, and now we're bringing this up for everyone else,
for everyone to hear. And by the way, we're live right now. Everyone's watching. We got 300. No. Yeah, right.
Wait, man. Is that my dad?
Yeah, right. Dang. Okay. What? So a while ago, you were working at a doggy daycare. Is that right?
Come on, dude. I don't know. Let me. Can I turn this camera? We're college educated now.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
There you go. Hey. This is me right here. Yeah. Okay.
You were gonna get some math tutor from me one time or something.
Yeah.
I think, right?
I asked
Is that right?
Dude. Yeah, I asked everyone for help. Yeah, I asked you. Do you by chance? I think it was like I was like, do you know how to do accounting? You were like,
accounting or something.
Yeah, you're like, nah, I don't do accounting.
I was like, no.
I had to ask them.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate that. I think that would have been a kind of memorable thing, like one of my students being Brett, and I like work with you on like accounting.
You want to know
stuff.
who did? You want to know who helped me through college every day?
Who?
Take a while. Who's the math?
I was gonna say accounting. I was gonna say Kent's father, but it's not him. No, I don't know who. I know. I know.
Gort helped me from every. Yep.
Yeah,
Gort,
okay.
I spent hours. I'm talking
Thomas
hours.
Moskal.
And he would always. Gort's really cool because he's. I'm sure you know Gort. Calm, chill.
Yeah.
I would get frustrated. I'm like, just tell me the answer. He would never tell me the answer. He would just like help me get to it.
Wow.
And I thank him so much for that because I get what he was doing. It was just me. I was getting upset that I couldn't do it. He's like, no, you know how to. Just like relax. And he would spend hours. Yeah. So like I would not have gone through college without Gort. But yeah, so now I work on human resources for a hospital. The biggest hospital network in PA or in Philly.
Human resources. You work with a team that hires people.
I hire
and such.
nurses. Yep, I hire nurses.
Okay. So you recruit?
I help the recruiters. So I work with the recruiters. So we have like high volume. So say we have like every 2 weeks we might have 20 to 40 nurses who start, and I have to basically help them get make sure all their certs are up. Certs are up to date. All their just like I have to. It's a pretty tedious onboarding. If I'm being honest, but that's why we're like one of the best because our vetting is a little intense.
Okay.
So I basically I file a lot of stuff. And I help all these candidates do all that they can so they could get to this. Because if you're a nurse, you have to there's and again, this is not us. Like there is a Department of Health who is like, we are gonna. This nurse better.
Certain things.
You gotta. You need to I'm telling you, bro. We have nurses. They could send you a perfect cert, and you'll find out it's fake. You gotta go and make sure it's verified.
Wow.
Do all this stuff, so it's it's a lot, but
yeah.
Now that I've been doing it, it's not not hard. It's just like a lot of work, but I kind of know what I'm supposed to at least what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. What your responsibilities are and such. How many years you been with that in that role?
Little over 2 years now, probably 2.5 to 3.
What grade does Morgan teach again?
Right, so she teaches a little bit of everything. So she used to teach reading and writing. She did from like 5th grade, and for a few years she did 6th grade. Now she's the art. She does art for basically like 5th, 6th.
Oh, get out! That's pretty cool. That's a big difference, I would say, from reading, writing to art. Does she is she enjoying that? Like the creative?
She loves it. All right. So the reason why, so she she works with kids who probably don't read at their age level. It's not their fault. So, like, the funding for a lot of these schools comes from their grades on these dumb standardized tests.
Yeah.
So being a freak English, that's one of them. and it's really hard because they come down on you about these scores, and you know. So she was on like year 8 or like year 6, and she was basically done. She's like, I don't want to quit, but like I can't, and like I'm just done. I am totally burnt out. So she was trying to find jobs, and I was like, why don't you talk to your boss? Because her boss is like her very first job. She worked for this lady who left and started her own school, and she took my wife. So she's always been my wife's, like, you know, she's always been there. She's always like been her boss, and like, you know, she leaves a school and she always brings her.
Right.
So she finally went to go to say to her boss, like, I'm really sorry, like I don't know if I could do it. And her boss was like, what role do you want? Like, she valued her so much. She was like, we'll do anything to keep you. Like, you're that good. So she was like, can I like art? And she was like, yep, done. And she gave her the one of the biggest rooms. And she gets to teach art, which is so it's like, and my thing to her was like, do you know how hard, what people would kill for a boss to like not say they care and value you, to show it.
Show it in that way. Like, we need you here.
Now she's on her 10th year, so this is not like she it's part of the thing, but she gets paid more because she's been there. So it's like that was when I was telling her, like, you can't leave now. Because now you have a boss who's like, she's willing to do anything to keep you around. And that, you know, we all wish we had that.
Yeah, that goes, I mean, of course, that goes such a long way. That's like, man, yeah, teaching, yeah.
Which I'm sure, which is part of your thing, too. It's hard, you know?
It is.
It's tough.
I've told many people this when I talk about me and what I've done and what I do and stuff like that, when I meet at like cafes, when I'm working from and stuff. But I tell people this, you know, paraphrasing, I tell them about, you know, working 2 years at Princeton Charter School. 1 year was the year before COVID. The second year was the year of COVID. First year COVID happened, right? And towards the end of the first year is when COVID sort of happened, right? But I told people that like working there that first year was undoubtedly my favorite year working anywhere professionally. And I've even furthered that and kind of said, like, I don't know if I'll ever even reach that again. Personally, when I think about like the role of an educator, and I think about the fact that most people, I assume most people who get into being an educator, get into teaching, they do it because they love being around kids, they love teaching, they love, you know, it's performative in a way. Of course, you're in front of a group of kids, and et cetera, and there's really nothing else on earth, job wise, that's like that. There's nothing else. If you're that person, right, there's nothing else like it. I imagine it's probably, you mentioned nurses. I often think about teachers and think about nurses.
They're
as
one
like,
of the same. They're
right,
worked hard, paid not enough, and they're burnt out. Like all
yeah,
out. And they're the most like they're
and they love it. They love what they do for the most part.
And also these are like these teachers are taking care of your kids. The teachers spend more time with your kids than you.
Yep.
If you know, if me and you got into a car accident, we need a nurse, and it's crazy we don't value that.
Right.
Like, these are such important jobs. Like, why aren't we flooding them with funds in a weird way?
It's
so weird to me. I really don't understand it.
It's 100% true, and I think I can only speak as more from like the teaching perspective with regards to. If you do an amazing job like Morgan is doing as a teacher, like
they give you way more work.
They give you more work, or you might get promoted. And what do you get promoted to? Freaking principal or vice principal or one of these things.
And then you're not around. You're not
around kids. You're dealing with adults, and no one. To me, that's the one thing that like. Is there a way? I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but is there a way to like value teachers who are doing amazing based on not just maybe high test scores, but maybe like, you know, a robust way of kind of confirming that, I don't know, student reviews or student surveys.
Who was that old? There was that old saying was like, they were in court and they were like, can you describe what pornography is? And the guy said, you know it when everyone knows porn when you see it. Probably not the best analogy, but like, it's kind of what you said. When a teacher cares, and it's really good, you just know it. I don't care about test scores. You know what I'm saying? Like when the kids react to like that, it's like one of those things you just kind of know. Like, how do we? You're right. How do we pay you more? Like,
How do we get that person
but
to
how
stay
do we
there so
put
we
that
can?
into a like? How do we know? But like, we just know.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
I think it's that because there are a lot of teachers who are. I don't want to say they don't care. They're just maybe not. It's not for them,
Sure.
and
Sure.
that's fair too. But yeah, how do we help the ones that really are the ones that care? Like, who care? And the same
Yeah,
goes for
it's
nurses. Like,
same
how do
goes
we
for
help them?
nurses. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. All right, God of War. Let's talk about it,
Bow,
man.
bow, bow, bow. All right. So
I'm
first of all,
I need
just
to. Yeah,
I
you
have
got to
little
talk
note
about
stuff.
it.
I just want you to tell me your thoughts on the game. Tell me about the
Sure.
ending. By the way, for everyone who's watching this, if you have not finished God of War 1 and 2, we are about to spoil it.
It's about to be spoiled.
So this is your time. If you want to leave, you can leave now.
That's right.
We are going to spoil this shit. So please.
This is like us listening to NBC and beyond enough to know like we have to say that, right? That's something we've heard them say in very many a
I have been
podcast.
spoiled by pods before going, why didn't you say something? Like, you
Okay,
spoiled a
okay.
major point, you jerk.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the hell? Like,
And kudos on kudos on that because I wasn't gonna say it. I was just like like it's gonna be in the title like God of War or something. I mean, who knows if that's even in the title? We're talking about other things more, so we'll see. Maybe we'll have a continuation. Who knows? But I loved the game. It took me very long time to finish it. I forget what year it came out. Do
you
you
like
remember the
left,
year that?
right? You left and then you came back to it, right?
Like over a year probably, right? At the plains section towards the end of the game.
Oh wow! You like got all the way to the
Yeah.
end, just stopped.
It got exactly,
Why?
exactly, and
That's what
I
makes
thought,
it good.
I know. I guess high level. As I mentioned in the text, I'm going to say it now. When I look at the writing and the voice acting in that game, the dialogue in that game between Mimir, between Atreus and Kratos, and the lady who takes Brock's
Injury. Who
Sindri
I
was
felt
in,
was my poor guy. He
I
got,
mean,
he got the shortest end of the stick in the whole
exactly
goddamn
everything
game.
taken from him, so much that he did in the game, and to kind of meet that fate. The woman who took Brock's place to upgrade your equipment, her voice acting was just like who I want to like who is this, like she sounds like she's from like I don't know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, Kentucky or like some, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
like what's it was breathtaking. So that's one of the first things. I felt like there were so many things that happened that it was a while ago. I had to reflect on it, but like and listening to the podcast, listening to the producer of the game like talk about these things.
Which I also just heard again while I was getting prepped.
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, talking about like the drop, the spear, the drop no spear, which is like, no, I didn't know that was going to be in the game. I had no idea. And then when you get it, you're like, this thing is mad dope. I
Probably the
didn't-
best thing. It changes the whole game. It makes you never want to go back to anything else.
Man, it's so good. It's just I called it a masterpiece. I would say like, okay, let's see. I still like the Berserkers with the gravestone stuff. Some of those fights are still very hard. Like there was one against a Berserker plus like some twin sisters. So it's like three people you're fighting together. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I'm incapable of beating these guys. Fought him like 30 times, something like that. So I like left that where it's at. And then I remember at the end of the game when I fought, Odin and fought Thor and everything, I was like, I'm not good enough, and I think you sometimes you own this as well. Like I'm not good enough at like the technicalities of the game. Sometimes I just want to like have fun and enjoy it. So I was like stressed a little bit about these end fights, like thinking like, man, this long
It's gonna
gauge,
be like those, yeah.
right? But ultimately, like it wasn't. Like I don't think the ending fights were handled as epically from my perspective in terms of how I defeated them. Like I was able to, like, I don't know if you remember, but if you die after a certain amount of health is gone from them, it like picks up right from there, so you don't have to like start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So like that was super helpful, and ultimately like I was just kind of doing a little bit of good old fashioned hack and slash type thing, and it worked for me. I feel like if I go on YouTube and watch someone play it who knows what they're doing, like doing the blocks and all that stuff, like it probably could have been super like more epic. But the game was just a masterpiece, and it just made me think as a entrepreneur and a creator myself, like all of these things that had to happen for this game and any game, Last of Us, all these masterpieces that came out, like these things that had to happen, like this coordination of the sound designer and the graphic person and the animator, all this stuff that has to work. And it was breathtaking, man.
Well,
really, really good.
the guy who made the game said it best. He said, all eights make a 10, right? So if everything in the game is an 8 or up, if everything is at least an 8, it becomes a 10. And I love that because that's kind of what the game is. And going back to what we said to start this, what God of War did is kind of the Super Mario thing. If you want to go fight the Valkyries and do the technical big boss battles, that's great. The boss battles in the main game, though, they're not meant to be that because that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point of the game is why, like, I don't want to jump around, but like when Kratos kills Heimdall towards the end, right before that, him and his son finally are like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. I am not going to kill him because I am choosing to not be this guy. Right. So I was like, as Brett going, yes, I agree. You have to kill him anyway. Yeah. And it's like, and that was the point, is how do you kill someone who can't be killed? Well, you make fun of my son, and now I don't want to, and the truce now is over, and now the war's going to start. Right. I'm like, how dare you? And and I think that's what makes it so fun. It's because, like, you're right. I was a little worried, like, this end game is going to be so hard. I'm never going to beat it. But that wasn't. I was like, oh, that's not the point.
Yeah,
the point is what's happening. Why are they there? Is Kratos going to die? Is all because the whole game, they're from part 1, you're seeing it. Yeah. Kratos dies. Your son does this, and you're like, "Am I just gonna go?
This is what I kind of expected.
This is what I'm supposed to fate. This is fate."
Yeah,
right?
for sure, dude. The whole segment. I mean, this things that I'm sure that will come to both of us as we continue chatting. But the whole segment of taking control of Atreus in the second game.
I was waiting for it. I wanted a whole game of that.
Oh my God, it was so and this. I mean, first of all, him and the I forget the name of the black girl that he ends up going with. Agrabota, yes. Okay, so he's like doing that stuff, I think, first, but then eventually going to spend time with Odin and with Thor and Thrud and Trud or whatever her name is. Like that whole segment it blew my mind. Like I was trying to understand. Like this is Odin. Like he's like a kind of cool, smart,
See, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You think he's this way, but he's fucking everywhere, and he's pulling the strings.
Every single.
Spoiler alert. Tyr is Odin the whole time.
That was insane.
The whole fucking time you're talking to Tyr, it's Odin. Yeah. This guy, oh, hey, I'm just your friend. But sorry to interrupt. But what was really cool about that? In that time when Loki comes to him, he actually is not. That wasn't an act. Because if you think about what was going on, he needs Loki's
abilities.
Help.
Yeah, for sure.
He was genuinely like, don't you want to know what this tear is?
Yeah,
don't you want to know like this? So for a minute, he almost was like, hey, I'm not the enemy. If you just help me
figure this out.
Get this thing. And I thought that was really great. And just, bro, I know. Since you listened to the spoiler cast, you said you didn't do all the post game stuff. The real Tyr is still out there now. Go and find him.
Yeah, and which I absolutely have to.
There's like feathers in his thing. Some of the characters you met in the game, their corpses are dead in there because he was them. So like it's not even until even after the game, the post credit, like this guy was so much worse than you think. But he comes off as like, hey, I'm just. He starts the whole game being like, Kratos, this is a truce. Right. I know you killed him, but hey, bygones be by. Like, you're not sure, but we all know, like, this guy probably don't.
He reminded me of, you're so right about that. He reminded me of, like, the governor from Walking Dead. I don't know if you ever watched Walking Dead. He was a terrible person, but he was likable and he was charismatic. And I really, I like that sort of confusing character portrayal, like when you're watching a show or movie or obviously playing a game. It's just like, it's just fascinating. It's like, you see why people sided with him because he could talk the talk and he can get people, on his side. But
there's these little that of course we learn. There's these little breadcrumbs the whole game,
right?
That we as the players don't know these things yet, right?
Right.
So even in the very first scene when he comes to visit them, remember Thor's there. It's the ending of part 1. You think a fight's about to start, right? And they cut to the same scene, and he's like, "Nope, I'm just here to talk." Yeah. And you're like, "Oh, he's telling Kratos, man, listen, you killed him, but come on. And he turns to Thor and makes a little thing. He goes, I know you killed him, but like he was a hothead, and my sons are kind of useless anyway. And he looks right at Thor. And the more we meet Thor, Thor's not mad at us. Thor is angry his dad doesn't show him I'm this strong guy, but right then we should have known. I'm sorry you killed my son. They're pretty useless. Right there, it's like that's a little crumb of how he thinks of this. He's a terrible his wife was like, he's a piece of shit. It's like there were all these little crumbs, like, but now we know. But as the game goes on, you're like, yeah, he's kind of cool. Like, I don't know. Like, is he bad?
Yeah,
like,
1,000%. What about that tier thing with the accent mark that they mentioned?
Which I don't play games with subtitles, but that's a cool little...
gotcha.
That's
very
cool
interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was it was a remarkable game. And I think for me, as someone who hasn't played through a story-driven game in what seems like a while, because I was playing so much, Binding of Isaac, that was just like getting that.
Well, you also know, God of War is Last of Us. When Last of Us became a hit, they remade God of War, and what's the whole story? A father and son going to spread the mom's ashes. It's what they learned about each other. The first time we play as the son, the whole gameplay changes. That's like when Joel's hurt and you're playing as Ellie.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not making that seem as a bad thing, but if you, like you said, I haven't played a narrative game, it says it's just since Last of Us.
Yeah,
it's the Norse world, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, super influence for sure. I mean, you could. I mean, the way you just described it, of course. And I've missed it. I know you play, a lot of games, and you have like, we have great conversations about different story-driven games, etc. But I definitely feel like I've been missing it. And then I don't remember what it was that made me think, like, you know what, like I'm working hard, I'm doing this and doing that. Like I'm gonna do something I want to get lost in the world. I want to finish some.
I want to feel.
Dude, and have this conversation, about said game.
This
and
is what
stuff.
these games are amazing. I love when you're like, dude, the part with the thing you want to talk. It's like
right.
That's what I love all these other games, but I don't. It's just like playing it for fun.
Yeah.
It's these games that make me feel.
Yeah,
that I want to talk. Have a whole hour we're talking.
Yeah.
Those are the games, and like Sony just does it so well. I find it hard as I bang them all out. So I've done Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, God of War. Now I'm like there isn't anything else.
Yeah.
There are other story games, but they're not like this.
Not you have a certain level that you're kind of used to.
Yeah, they're
when
really
it comes
like
to these types of games.
I don't want to get all the way to the end. Too, that last scene with the father and son, like, hey, Dad, we really have to talk. I need to go. Does it frighten you? Yes. Then you must go.
Mm-hmm.
How about the cry? And he's like, son, you are, like, bro, that, like even now, I can feel it all again. It's like, that's what I spent all those hours for.
To feel
was just to feel that.
Right,
just to feel that, like, oh my, he doesn't call him boy, just that little thing, son, you are ready. I was like, I'm like crying in my basement. Just like, it's that. It's like or even the part right before the end. So you remember one of my favorite things in the world. In the first game, he's a terrible dad, right? He doesn't know his wife's dead. The son sees like a thing hurt, and he's like, close your heart. Don't feel anything. That you can't last in this world. Close your heart to all this. Be cold.
Right.
And then at the end of God of War, right before he's like, he could finally either be who he is or finally not be the God of War. His son sees he puts all the human beings down at the bottom because he knows they're going to be killed and it's going to fuck with us. And you can see his son start to go into that mode. And he's like, shut your heart out. Like, do it. And the Kratos, he gives him a shoulder. He's like, no, I was wrong. Open your heart. That's what I didn't get. Don't be cold.
Right.
The reason why you're so good is because you care. And I love that. It's so subtle. Because Kratos, he don't talk. But how powerful is that? him telling his son, in the world's about to be, everything that they've been told. If you do this, the world will end. And Kratos goes, you know what, son? I think all that's wrong. I trust you. Open your heart and tell me what to do. And that's why at the end, when the dad cries and he said, Loki goes, Atreus stays here. It's like that. It's like all like those little things. Like it's so powerful. And the only way you get there is you set it up, all eights, and you have to like make you care.
Yeah,
you have to care about everyone. When Brock dies, you care. When Sindri feels the death, you care.
Yeah.
When Kratos is upset, you care. When it's like that's so hard to do in games. How many games have you played where you couldn't even name who the hell the guy was?
So many.
I think that's so hard. And like Joel and Ellie, these characters are burned in our brains.
You'll never.
Why? Because you just care. You care about the whole thing. I think that's what these games. I strive. It's like drugs. I'm like, how do I get the next one? I don't even know what it is I'm trying to feel. I just want that. Make me feel.
Right.
You know.
Well, is the next? And we'll kind of end with this. I got a question for you. GameRankings.com. I was kind of like, okay, I beat Zelda just now. Right? Beat the story. I'm not gonna. Well, maybe the next one of these we could. Maybe the next one of these we could talk about freaking Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Let me go back to Zelda, finish it after a year, and then in a year again, we'll come back and do it.
Well, whenever you beat it, text me because I have a rant to go on about, not even about anything you didn't see, not about the ending or anything, but just the game as a whole. You know, we'll save that. But I was going on Game Rankings and I was like, okay, what are the games that are rated average rated higher than God of War Ragnarok? Because this was an epic game in my opinion.
It wins PS5. All like the polls on all these sites that do like what is the best game on. It always comes first. And I'm a little shocked because I love God of War. It wouldn't be my top.
Yeah. What would be your top?
No, I mean, I would put Last of Us over it.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's like, but the fans always vote this. They say God of War is the best game. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It's a beautiful masterpiece. I'm for whatever reason drawing a blank right now, but there's a game that came out about a year ago on PS5 that maybe did it win Game of the Year, or maybe it was a runner up?
Baldur's Gate. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Which me, Gord, and Rain are actually playing.
Oh, so let's talk about it because I think I might want to get it.
It's not my style of game, but it won
I heard it's
Game of the Year.
Super different. Okay,
it won Game of the Year. It's literally it's a big dev, but they're not owned by anyone. So technically, they're a freaking indie dev, although they're very big. And they made like 100-hour tabletop fucking RPG game, and it's a lot. But I can see why it won. Like it's you know, thank God we have Gort to like tell us what the hell is going on and what we're supposed to do because I don't know what the hell is going on. But, you know, but but that's a game where I'm like, oh, this one, like if fans are saying this is the game of the year, all right, like why don't I dip my toe in
I have to
this?
check it out. I got to see what it's about. Okay, I got you there. I think I mean you're playing in multiplayer, so that game is one that can be or should be played multiplayer.
Yeah.
Or can
I would never. I couldn't play this game all alone. What the hell I'm supposed to do?
Okay.
We have a team of 4.
Nice.
Honestly, though, the joke is we've been stuck on Act 1 the entire time. We're kind of lost right now. We don't know what to do. Like we think we do, but we're kind of stuck. So it's not. I don't know. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. It's rough. It's like a little. It is like it's a. What is it? D&D. They like made a D&D game.
Yeah. Okay. That's the vibe I get from it. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah. So that's probably not going to be my next. And I need another single player epic game. You know what? I have. I mean, what like. I guess like Red Dead Redemption and Spider-Man and Ghost of
that was the one I was
Tsushima.
That's what I was telling you to play next. Play
Spider-Man 1 and then get to 2.
Those are the Sony, like the stories are really cool. And one of the things I really love. So I was a comic book nerd prior to when it became cool. All right, I used to bring comics to school and people used to be like, "Oh, you nerd, whatever." And now it's cool. So I really care about this stuff. But what's really cool about these games is all these stories have been told 1,000 times, right? We all know Infinity War, we know Venom, like, you know, there's not much, like, there's little variations, but
Yeah.
these stories have kind of been told. This is the very first time that I could tell it, in my life, minus like a new comic book run, where Marvel has allowed them to just change up source stuff. And it becomes like a version of canon that only applies to the video games.
To the game. Okay.
And a lot of what Miles has become in the comics and the films is kind of based off these games. They kind of created, like, because Miles was kind of new. No, there was no back.
Yeah.
They could make whatever
sure.
the hell they want. And I don't want to spoil anything in part 2. But there are a lot of scenes where you think you know what's going to occur because we've seen this before, and they just zag. And it's so refreshing. Like, imagine a world where, like, Ben didn't die, or, like, I don't know, like the stupid with great power, like, there's just something really cool to these games where they're allowed to just, like, get carte blanche to be like, make up your own damn story. Change whatever you want. Maybe Peter's bad. I don't fucking care. Like, do whatever.
And
like,
just
and they
have
do
fun
it.
with
And
it.
they
We
do the
trust
Sony.
you.
Yeah, and they do the Sony thing where they make it really good, and by the end you're fucking crying, and you're like, I love these guys. Like, there's something really nice. And I truly think that Miles is the best new comic book character in 10 years, 20 years.
Okay.
The old Peter Parker, this is going to be a bold the old Peter Parker is kind of now, like, pushed to the side. I don't want to hear the old, my dad died, Uncle Ben died. Like, that's just whack now.
Okay.
Miles is the Spider-Man for the new gen.
Yeah.
In way more ways than one. I am a white male, but I could understand wanting to do good. He also deals with, he's not a white guy. And his world is not like, him and Peter Parker are the same, but they're not. He deals with things that Peter doesn't. And Peter, like, there's something but like Miles always feels authentic. There's something really cool about, like, a half Spanish, half black kid who's Spider-Man his way.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil too, but, like, kind of the point of the game is, like, everything you know about the Peter, and Peter does exist in this game. You play as them both, and it's like I don't want to say father son, but like a mentor mentee thing.
Yeah.
It kind of it does the thing where it's like, maybe I was wrong, maybe Peter was wrong, maybe my way of being Spider-Man is not the only way.
Gotcha.
Maybe 60 years of what Spider-Man's supposed to be for a black kid is not what it is for him. And that it's not like they bring up race, but it's like there's something very it's hard to explain. When you play it, you'll kind of
for sure.
There is something. It's like a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
But, like, Spider-Man doesn't have to be this. Spider-Man could be cool. Spider-Man could not have his uncle get killed and still be a good guy and still want to care, and, like, he could want to wear dope shoes and look cool, like, have some swag, and there's something really refreshing about this whole take on, like, I wish comic book films, shows, and comic books would write this way. It doesn't. You know how, like, it's like, it's hard to explain. Like, I know some. All right, here we go. Every time now they say, like, a character might be gay, or might be trans, or might be, people just get pissed and they go, oh, it's woke. Why you make? But no one. Have you heard anyone say that about Miles? I've never heard anyone go,
about why is he black? Black, or
why is he black? Why? Like, because he's so it doesn't feel like, let's just make a black guy
that's forced or anything. Right?
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not Peter. I'm Miles.
Yeah,
I am my own guy.
Character.
And there's something. It's very hard to, like, make that work. It almost. I can't name a time it did work, except this one.
Yeah.
Even, like, the guy in the South was like, he's playing this going, that goddamn Miles. I kind of like. It's like there's something very, like, and that's what's so great. It's like he's not a black Spider. He's Miles.
He's his own person.
He just happens
to
be black and speaks Spanish and has all these cool things about him that are not like the guy from the Midwest. But for the first time, he sees himself in Miles.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I have it downloaded. I'm gonna start from the beginning, because this is like a year and a half or two since I started playing the first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna play that shit. I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna have some fun with it. And then Anthony Carnevale, who you know on our text thread, he bought the second. He beat the second. He said there was a DLC that either came out or was coming out. Did it come out already
For
for the
part two?
second? Yeah.
No, they haven't announced it, but how the game goes, we're not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
There's something on the way, and
Okay.
we know it. We know
Okay.
who it is, but they haven't
Okay.
officially.
Officially. Okay. I wonder
Although
why.
they were
Okay.
like hacked, and like the code was hacked, and there was code about a DLC for
About
exactly
something.
the guy that we thought it would be.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Sounds
Okay.
like it'll probably come.
They're probably working on it. All right. Well, I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited about this conversation. This was dope. We covered a lot of ground, and I'm excited for Morgan and Jessica to not watch it.
Yes, and just real quick, speaking
Yeah.
of our friend Anthony, gotta get the Knicks chat to do one episode, like a
One of these.
playoff thing. We got just like,
yeah.
I want to get everyone's
Yeah.
our chat is like one of my favorite things. I love
It's
our
amazing. Yeah.
we will always have January,
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time the Knicks lose,
Although-
like guys, we always have January.
Although, I mean,
Now-
are we playing tonight or no?
Yeah, I
Tonight,
was getting.
10:30?
I've been the alerts have been going on.
Is the game on now or no?
Yep, it's on now.
Oh.
We're playing the Nuggets, and
Nuggets.
remember we beat the piss out of them last time, so they're probably
I thought so. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
beat the hell out of them, and they were not proud of that one. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
this was really really dope. And just real quick, because there's one big point I wanted to bring up. We're gonna go back to God of War for 1 minute.
Sure.
Did you pick up on the Jormungandr thing, the giant snake thing?
That they talked about in the podcast a little bit. Not really.
I don't know about. I was gonna say. So I had to because I watched some pods again to get prep for
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
So in part one, right?
Yep.
The giant snake that you bring up
Yep.
in the middle of the lake. He informs Loki of who he is because remember he speaks the language.
Yeah. Yep.
And he tells him go find that place where only the giants are, and that's where he meets that girl, right?
Okay.
So then in part two, do you remember they put the spirit into the dead snake, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
then the snake comes alive.
Yeah.
So he put the spirit of a giant, Jormungandr, into the snake.
Right.
During Ragnarok, Thor is fighting the snake.
Right.
Because the giant who was put in there was killed by Thor.
Okay.
Thor hits him on. There's a lot going on. If you look in the foreground, Thor hits him so hard he sends him back in time to 2018 God of War. So technically, the version of Jormungandr in the first game, who informs Loki of who he is and where to go,
That's crazy.
leads to his soul being put in the future
Oh, that's crazy.
and then being sent back. So he's in like a time loop.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
did not pick that up in the game. I thought, oh, that's a new snake. Like, no, the young snake that they put it in his head
Right.
was really small.
Right.
When Thor sends him back to the first game to tell Loki how to get to where we are in part two.
Yeah.
That just like blew my mind. I'm like, wait,
That's
what?
insane.
How
Yeah.
does that make any sense? But like, I did not pick that up the first time that I played. I was like, wait, that's the snake from the first
Yeah.
game, but
No
not
clue.
yet. And
Right.
the reason why he's so big in the first game is because he put a giant.
Right.
So when we see the snake in part two, he's pretty small.
Right.
But the spirit of the
Right.
giant, he becomes the snake we know. And I just found that was like a piece of the game. I was like, wow, I did not know.
It's fascinating, dude.
Like, oh, but I love that. All this little stuff that we probably don't even care about.
Yeah,
These guys
yeah.
spent so much time to think about that.
Right. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, oh man. Yeah. I think there's a chance, that I might even want to at some point play through this gaming game, which I never do, but I might want to play through it in its entirety just because it was that much fun. And there is a lot of stuff that I miss and would love to relive
and now
again.
that you know who's who and who's what,
Yeah,
you
dude,
can maybe
exactly.
pick up on some
Exactly.
things that we didn't know. Like when Tyr calls Freya
Something
Frigg,
different. Yeah.
That's what he used to call her
Yeah, Odin,
when
right?
they were married. Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
that was a hint. That,
Wow.
but we had no idea.
I didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So you're
Yeah.
right. I'll probably play it again just to
Yeah.
see that. Like, is it? Can I see it?
Just what, like Sixth Sense, right? Like
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
through a
Yeah.
different lens kind of
How
thing.
do I know if he's dead? You know?
Yeah, yeah. So cool, man. Let's enjoy this next game, man.
Yeah. Thank you again. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is gonna be your most popular episode.
I
I
think
said that
so.
about the last one, and it was
I
not.
think
But now,
it was not. It was most popular in my heart. This was dope, man. I mean, I'm excited for to share this with people for sure.
all
And
right.
like I said, first time doing this in a while
Yeah. Right before we go, how far did the Knicks get?
in the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
I think that they will get to the second round this year. To the second round, they'll get past the first round. I don't think they're getting past the second round. That's my opinion. Just like last year, I think the same thing that happens last year. I don't know who they'll play. I think that's probably what I'm expecting at this point. Yeah. How about
All
you?
right. That is probably the most practical answer.
Mhm.
But in my heart of hearts, we're going to the finals, boy. Come on.
Oh.
As soon as once we get people back, this is something that I know. We've been saying this.
Yep.
Every team in the NBA, even the Celtics, you do not want to play us 5 times,
Ab-
6 times.
At full strength, if we get there,
And honestly, bro,
which hopefully
even
we
at
do.
75% strength, we
Yeah.
are annoying. We play so fucking hard.
Yeah.
There are some teams that are going to fold. The Cavs were a great example.
Yeah,
They were
dude.
way better than us, right? Way higher. We just beat them into submission.
Yeah.
This team is like playoff built.
Yeah.
And
They
I'm
are.
going to
They
go.
are.
We are the Heat of last year.
Of last year. It's like it feels weird saying it because like it's the Knicks though, and we're Knicks fans, but we know what they have been, but they are different now. They are
This is
different. They
different.
have a bona fide superstar on the team, and there's no denying that any longer. People who question, oh, but he's not. Nah,
He's
no more.
unstoppable.
Yeah,
There was no part of his game that he could hit threes. He could hit the range. He could get to the lane. He does not get upset. He never gets too fast. There is not a part of his game where I'm like, ah. Even though he don't guard people amazing, he takes a lot of charges. He just puts in the work. Like there is no part of his
100%.
game where I'm like, oh, I wish he would do like
I would
Julius Randle will spin and just get all wild.
spin cycle.
I never
Yep.
feel that way. Every time he shoots with Jalen, I'm like, that is going in.
That's a fact. And I mean, we have that guy now. So regardless of where we go, I'm like, okay, this is a beautiful time to be a Knicks fan. A beautiful time to like, yeah, even with the future, we have so many first round draft picks. There's so much like, yeah, I mean, it's exciting, man. It definitely is.
And we're gonna bring that to you on our very next pod when we get the whole chat.
I'm excited. I'm gonna take you up on your offer on setting that up and just let me know. Like,
I will help you. I'll help you in any way.
Let's schedule it for next week then. Let's get it.
All right, man.
Find a day that works. Hit me up and let me know.
Sure. And thank you again for having me on.
Hey man, great to chat with you. Have a good one. All right.
All right, man.